What's the most devious way a creator could betray their friends and fans? Is it recording, then leaking private conversations in hopes of exposing them?
Recently, I got into a back and forth with Lorex that has caused a lot of confusion and disappointment to what people have seen me doing, going as far as to call me the next tipster. So let me explain why I was going to leak this call in this stream and why I think Lorex is worth bullying.
Is it criticizing people for abusing the copyright system while doing the exact same thing behind the scenes?
Although I was legally within my right to take down the video, morally and as a content creator, it wasn't something that I should have done.
So I just copyright striked it because it's mine. That's it. It's legal.
Or perhaps it's lashing out at your friends for trying to help you.
5 minutes.
No, that's not an apology! There's no apology! That's explanation! Let me speak! You motherfucker!
Or maybe it's blaming all his behavior on a mental illness he wasn't even diagnosed with. In Bowblax's case, these transgressions were only the symptoms of a warped mindset that drove him to repeatedly take advantage of the community around him, all while playing the victim. Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be examining the poetic downfall of the commentary creator turned lolcow, Bowblax. Why he became popular in the first place, how he maliciously manipulated people into overlooking his hypocritical antics, and what happened after the community decided they'd had enough of his vindictive attitude. Throughout Bowblax's career as a creator, two fundamental desires have defined his online persona, approach to making content, and behavior around other creators. 1. A desire to have his voice heard and recognized, and 2. A desire to connect and collaborate with other creators. While these desires are present in any aspiring creator, Bowblax's success and eventual downfall would come from gradually taking them to the extreme. When Bowblax started his YouTube channel back in 2011, these desires manifested as let's plays of his favorite Nintendo games and collaboration projects with his online friends.
Sup, faggots? Welcome to the Trashy Trio!
No.
You can
call it hashtag believers. Oh my god.
Alright.
I know.
Have you guys ever
So-
looked up Rule 34 Sonic?
The first time I ever saw tits on the internet,
Yeah.
Rooch's tits.
However, by October 2016, Bowblax would take things a step further, with a shift in focus from game commentary to drama commentary, with the video, Why I Think Leafy's Keemstar Rant is Stupid.
Hello, this is Bowblax here. I usually don't make videos like this, but today's a very special exception because I feel like there's been a huge injustice just done in the YouTube community. Well, it's been ongoing for a while, but I feel like this video that Leafy's here made about Keemstar is just super stupid, super dumb. The first 6 minutes of this video is pure intro, pure just stupid Keemstar memes. I'm just gonna skip through all the way to his evidence. As a frequent viewer of Keemstar streams, Twitter videos, and ROM Alert, I'm gonna try to explain why I think this whole thing is wrong and actually try to defend Keemstar since not a lot of people are doing it, and I think it's stupid, quite frankly, anyways.
While there was nothing wrong with Bowblax sharing opinions, viewers didn't quite agree with his thought process or reasons for defending Keemstar, with a commenter stating, "I'm really trying to understand what you were saying and to see your perspective, but your arguments get worse the more I think about and try to understand them, and I just end up hating you even more." Despite the backlash, Bowblax saw this as a sign to double down on drama-related content. After all, people were meaningfully engaging with his content, and it was a fresh departure from his previous gaming videos. With every upload, Bowblax steadily built up a small audience that wanted to hear about deleted or hard-to-find information about controversial figures. Even though it was just archiving other people's content, Bowblax was getting some of the recognition and success he craved. Unfortunately, the increased visibility of his channel came with some unforeseen downsides. By November of 2018, Bowblax's viral video covering a Pokemon and Keemstar controversy would get a copyright claim by a media company associated with Pokemon. Naturally, this caused serious outrage, as a much larger creator trying to silence a smaller one is something the community will always stand against. While YouTube later reinstated the video, the copyright controversy with Pokemon proved to be a net positive for Bowblax's career, attracting tens of thousands of new viewers to his channel. Not just that, but other creators would empathize with Bowblax's underdog status in the controversy, which allowed him to deepen connections in the drama community. The The most significant of these relationships was with another up-and-coming commentary creator named Augie RFC. Together, they co-hosted the RFC After Hours podcast and discussed any relevant community drama with other commentary creators, such as Tipster, Nicholas Diorio, John Swan, and Turkey Tom.
Obviously I'm with Keemstar on this whole scenario, and I hate Just Destiny, but like, seeing Keem's sub count go down right after he mocked me for mine going down a couple of days ago, it does feel good, I'm not gonna lie.
Bowblax's place on the podcast simultaneously gave him front row seats to any emerging controversy worth covering on his new Twitterverses series, and a means of reaching new viewers who tuned into the show. By the 11th of April 2020, Bowblax had reached the coveted 100,000 subscriber milestone, and it seemed like things would only get better from there. However, as Bowblax was achieving YouTube success, the desires that spawned his online career were about to start destroying it from the inside out. On the 27th of February 2020, the channel KNN would upload a video titled Bowblax, YouTube content thief admits to stealing content, which, as the title suggests, showcased a very concerning side of Bowblax during a stream with Croaxis.
So you wanted to talk to Bowblax?
What do you want to say, dude?
That's not what I want to say. I'm interested in your thoughts on some things because I've seen you talk many times, Bowblax, about people on YouTube stealing and taking other people's content. And I'm just curious what the reasoning is that you see that makes it okay for you to do that.
Well, typically, I will repost content when it's important to me or a certain drama, and only if the original content is inaccessible, like deleted or something.
While this was true for some of the videos on Bowblax's channel, it wasn't the case for the vast majority of his content, and Tonkasaw rightfully called him out for it.
That's still stealing, Bowblax. That's not yours. You don't just get to take other people's content and repost it without doing anything to it.
I did it. I can do what I want with the video.
You can do what you want with other people's content.
Yeah.
You're allowed to do whatever you want with other people's content with no repercussions.
People can criticize me, people can say what they want about it, but
you're a thief.
You know, if I can get away with it on YouTube, so be it.
It's important to remember that Bowblax had previously called out creators like Suzy Lou for stealing and re-uploading other people's content without transformation. Now that he was being criticized for the same thing, Bowblax acted very hypocritically and justified his actions by saying that people could call him out, but it didn't matter because he wasn't facing any consequences. When questioned about twisting details about a previous content theft incident, Bowblax boldly admitted to lying to his viewers and fellow creators, only to immediately deny it afterwards.
So why did you edit DMs to try to make things look like someone was coming at you and attacking your channel when the reality was you were committing something that you were the one doing the wrong thing? You're the one stealing.
The original DM was pretty. It didn't even matter what the original DM was.
No, it did matter what the original DM was.
I literally just said something like, okay, which...
The debate only got more heated when Tonkasaw confronted Bowblax with evidence he couldn't deny.
You tried to negotiate, and then you lied.
I didn't try to negotiate. I was copy-pasting your message because I didn't take it seriously.
You didn't put it on... No, you put it on Twitter. No. Bowblax. I know you don't care because you're caught lying again. You're a piece of shit. You're a scumbag.
And we argued, and you deleted it like a little... And I didn't. It to my channel.
No, it's not deleted. It's still up right now. No, it's still up right now. And you've been told multiple times that you are not allowed to take my content. Bowblax, you're not allowed to take people's content.
Answer, yes or no. Is your stream...
Bowblax, you're not allowed to take my content.
Eventually, Bowblax gave up on presenting reasonable arguments and devolved the discussion to a shouting match.
It's that you will steal, and you're like, well, if I can get away with it, it's fine. But you want to try to go out here and make a name for yourself by trying to go at people for stealing.
You want me to scream about your...
I'm glad that you said you stole. I'm glad that you've admitted that you stole now. I'm glad you did that.
I stole, now you know. Now can you answer my question? Jesus,
I'm not interested in the questions of a thief.
The most disturbing part of this interaction wasn't Bowblax's admission to stealing content or maliciously doctoring messages he shared publicly. It was how he quickly resorted to shouting and irrational behavior when backed into a corner. something that would become a running theme in Bowblax's career going forwards. For now, the content theft allegations from Tonka were largely discredited by Nicholas Diorio, which allowed Bowblax to come out of the situation unscathed.
You're just mad that he re-uploaded your stream, right? That's what's something that's bothering you. That he re-uploaded your stream.
He re-uploads Drama Alert.
No,
he re-uploads Gabby
you complained
Hanna,
about this like 15 minutes ago.
He re-uploads J Station. He re-uploads Bumpy King.
He re-uploads videos
Drama
that are
Alert.
taken down. That's called an archive, dumbass.
However, Bowblax's positive public perception wouldn't last long, as he was about to be called out as a hypocrite yet again. In late 2020, an archive of Bowblax singing an edgy Black Lives Matter song in 2016 resurfaced online, and instantly went viral in the drama community.
Some people don't know the struggle of being fucking black. We always get bullied. We always get bullied. Cause we are black. Black lives matter. All the white should die. Don't mean to us. Might as well kill yourself. Black lives matter. Oh, black lives matter.
While no one took offense to the video and just laughed at it, Bowblax didn't like that it was available and copyright struck re-uploads of the song.
Basically what happened is, people were re-uploading the Black Lives Matter song, and I was like, you know what, I don't feel comfortable with this being up and readily available for people to watch, so I just copyright striked it because it's mine. That's it. It's legal.
It's one thing to copyright strike a video, but it's a whole different story when you copyright someone after getting your lucky break for outing someone as a copyright abuser. When other creators and fans confronted him on it, Bowblax claimed that it was just an intoxicated mistake.
I was in my copyright tab, and I was trying to take down re-uploads of the Black Lives Matter song, which was a bad judgment call. Again, it wasn't false for some of them, but it was a bad judgment call, so I undid those two. But in the crossfire, I had a transformative one come up, and I accidentally striked it as soon as I figured that out, which was only like 10 minutes after I contacted YouTube support. And within a couple days, it went back up, and then he deleted it to make it look like it's still down. So I'm not a fucking false flagger. I'm not a fucking deplatformer. Shut the fuck up. You're retarded. And we want to compare to like the Pokimane copyright strike or whatever. It's like, I talked with Pokimane, she apologized, I accept the apology. I was trying to give her benefit of the doubt in so many ways. This is not the same situation in the slightest, alright?
No matter how Bowblax wanted to spin it, he was doing the exact same thing as Pokimane, and even though he couldn't recognize it, his close friends did.
I genuinely don't believe you accidentally struck the Black Lives Matter video after you sat with me for fucking days telling me how angry you were that it was getting views. I don't believe you accidentally struck the Black Lives Matter video when after talking about for like fucking weeks that this fucking Black Lives Matter song was bothering you. And then when you were high, somebody gave you the idea to go strike it, and you're like, that's a great idea.
Yes, exactly.
It's
yes,
the
exactly.
Guy. It's the guy who like literally his first.
And I know why it's bad. Yes, I know why it's bad.
You don't know why, because we had to sit here and fucking argue with you why. And if we've talked about all this publicly, you have no fucking problem with me, and I don't know who else was in the call. It was either John or Tom. We're having to explain to you why your fucking stupid strike made our fucking archive argument look really dumb.
Once again, Bowblax was caught red-handed during a confrontation, and again, he'd resort to irrational outbursts to get his way.
One who asked.
Your apology in an hour and 45 minutes.
No, that's not an apology. There's no apology. That's explanation. Let me speak. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. You fucking bitch. My apology is not in there. My apology was oh my god. You didn't even watch the clip. Why are you saying shit without watching the clip? Just fucking watch my shit and actually like listen to what I fucking say, dude.
As dramatic as Bowblax's outburst was, it didn't escalate things any further, nor cause any lasting damage to his reputation. Granted, it was a foolish way to respond to genuine criticism, but at the end of the day, the argument occurred among friends. In addition, Bowblax had removed the copyright strikes, so everyone was willing to look past it and give him a second chance. This gradually led to the "let me speak" line becoming less of a stain on Bowblax's reputation, and more of a funny moment everyone could laugh about.
Also,
but if you were the killer, you would say you wouldn't have seen me there, Bowblax.
I would
you
also
jumped through a vent.
let me speak.
Okay, hang on, dude. That feels my vote.
I don't
think
That
Nick
is
is
so
crafty
annoying,
enough?
Nick.
With that blunder behind him, Bowblax quietly returned to his usual schedule of Twitterverses and RFC After Hours content. By the start of 2021, Bowblax had doubled his subscriber count and seemingly erased all traces of his prior transgressions. Unfortunately, not every creator in Bowblax's friend group was afforded the same level of mercy and forgiveness. Individuals like Tipster, John Swan, and Flamenco would be exiled from the RFC After Hours community following their own controversial blunders. One by one, each of these creators would succumb to the drama they once covered, and Bowblax was there documenting it all. While it was okay to talk about these incidents regardless of their friendship, Bowblax took things to the extreme and made it personal. With Tipster in particular, Bowblax would make several bully streams dunking on his former friend in every way imaginable. On one hand, Tipster's lolcow status made him an easy target, and no one was going to fault him for poking fun at that. On the other hand, Bowblax barely hesitated to turn against someone he once called a friend, and rarely showed any of the former members of the RFC After Hours the same forgiveness he received. Either way, it was clear that Bowblax was more than willing to throw his friends under the bus the moment it became beneficial to do so. Unfortunately for Bowblax, he was about to face yet another self-inflicted controversy, but this time, the community wasn't going to give him the benefit of the doubt. By mid-2024, Orky RFC had been on a year-long break, and Bowblax was becoming increasingly unmotivated to create content due to implied mental health issues. So even though he was at his peak numbers-wise with 300,000 subscribers, Bowblax wasn't in the best shape emotionally and lacked access to a community that would give him the validation or respect he craved. This led Bowblax to fixate on the quickest source of validation available to him: Twitter likes. Around July 2024, Bowblax tried to virtue signal on Twitter with a post that read, "Non-binary people are badass and valid by the way," to which Turkey Tom replies, "Thank God you chimed in." Under normal circumstances, that would have been the end of the conversation, but Bowblax couldn't handle the fact that people weren't taking him seriously, and responded with, "Okay bro, I just wanted to say something I was thinking." Like tweeting, "I love pineapple on pizza. I'm not trying to virtual signal. Sucks that I can't compliment something without it becoming a big deal, because it's politically and socially divisive." Overcome with embarrassment, Bowblax immediately deleted the thread, but it was archived just as quickly by the user Alex Gekmo. However, the archives were strangely taken down some time later. This entire interaction would have gone completely unnoticed if Alex had not provided some behind-the-scenes context on why the post was taken down. A month or so ago, Bowblax went on a schizo rampage in my DMs, begging me to delete the tweet I am quoting here. After I obviously stood my ground, he got super aggressive. When that didn't work, he just started rambling in my DMs until I stopped responding. Looking at their DMs, Bowblax attempted to use mental illness as an excuse to manipulate Alex into removing his archive, with statements like, "Can you please delete the tweets? Sorry to ask, but I've legit had a mental break. Sorry for the trouble. I know it sounds gay, but I do legit need a mental refresh and I'm gonna touch grass for a week." Even though Alex tried to explain the tweets were harmless and suppressing them would only cause problems, Bowblax still demanded that they'd be taken down. Reading, "So you just lied when you said you'd delete shit about me if I said I was going through it? You can't just do that and expect me to respect you. I also said no offense, you pussy." As if that wasn't bad enough, Bowblax blocked Alex even after he gave in to his aggressive demands, and listened to his endless excuses of going through a mental crisis from other parts of his life. For someone that built his entire brand on archiving tweets like this, Bowblax was very quick to hide information that painted him in a bad light. Before the community could properly criticize Bowblax for his hypocritical DMs with Alex, another controversy involving him was about to take shape, adding even more fuel to the fire. A few hours earlier, one of Bowblax's tweets about a situation involving the creator King of Nothing earned him a few harsh but honest words from Nicholas.
I think Sonic Josh tried to run defense for it, and he's like, "Well, actually, this own gets kind of ruined when you notice that King of Nothing has double the likes." And it's like, my video has more likes. My video has tons of likes. It's like, it's so obvious he's just parroting again. Listen, I get it. Josh likes to both sides, like every controversy or whatever, just to try to like check in and make sure everyone knows their friends and stuff. But we all know whichever one of us slights you first, you're going to spend the next 6 months on stream talking shit about. So why don't we just speed that process up a little bit? I don't know. I don't know. What are we running defense for him on Twitter and tell me everything he says in private, or what are we doing here? Like, what side are we on? Are we picking a side? I don't know.
Despite Bowblax's two-faced attitude, Nicholas didn't think it was anything worth condemning him over, and simply wanted him to be better.
I have no intention of cutting Josh off. I just wanted to, I felt like I needed to check him. I don't know. There's one thing I never liked about like the way that he operates, and he knows this. I've told it to him plenty of times. You know when like you're having sex with somebody and you say like,
No.
"This is this okay with you? Are you good right now? Is this cool or whatever?" Like getting like reinforcement. Josh does that in like every fabric of drama.
Unfortunately, that opinion would drastically change after Bowblax was called into a stream to address the DMs from Alex.
But
I thought
yeah,
it was
everything I've told Nick is what I've told King of Nothing. So it's like yeah, I shit talk him, but I do it to his face and I do it to Nick.
No,
so
I'm talking about
secret.
you giving Nick information about King of Nothing, about private conversations.
Yeah.
What? How is that? That's not you giving the criticism to King of Nothing. You're leaking stuff to Nick.
I'm saying it's me talking with a friend. Sorry,
he's doing generic like gossip, the same thing that everybody else does.
This is fucking retarded. Like
So
we're fucking adults.
You were leaking a bunch of shit about King of Nothing to Nick. You were hearing things from private conversations, then giving them
yes,
to his
I
enemies.
gossiped about my friends to my friends.
That makes you like a
with
rat,
my friends,
like
a fucking normal human adult.
In his defense, Bowblax claimed he had explicit approval from the King of Nothing to share the DMs, which would make him look like less of a snake. However, the fact that Bowblax was still gossiping to both parties about each other raised some red flags.
In his videos, he doesn't fucking care. That's what I love about Sam, dude. He doesn't give a shit. That's why I'm so... Like, I actually like gossiping to Sam. Like, I'm being
really,
too
how does that
open.
work when you were just saying just then?
Fuck, I misspoke. Dude, I misspoke. I shouldn't even be talking. If I'm gonna misspeak one time, I meant that I gossiped to Nick about King of Nothing. Dude, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
For the moment, Bowblax was about to avoid criticism by rage quitting the call, but he couldn't stop people from covering it, and it was only a matter of time before his childish tantrums got him into even more trouble. By the 11th of September 2024, Bowblax began leaking a Discord call with lyrics to various creators and tried to get them to co-sign his idea of using the call for a bully stream. It was later revealed that Bowblax wasn't too fond of how lyrics covered his recent controversy and wanted to use the call to get revenge. The call wasn't special, it was mostly lyrics trying to encourage and help his friend navigate the current drama, both of which Bowblax desperately needed to hear.
I hope you take care of yourself, man.
I am.
From the sounds of things are pretty rough right now, but I want to see Bowblax thrive and succeed and win. You know?
Yeah, for sure. All right.
For some reason, Bowblax thought this was sufficient ammunition to slander lyrics, and despite everyone advising him against it, he uploaded the bully stream anyway.
Hey everyone, Mayo Monkey here, and I wanted to take a moment to respond to the situation that happened on Twitter a few days ago, and kind of give my thoughts on the matter. In the past when situations have gone on involving me, I've just kind of taken it laying down and allowed people to come to their own conclusions or whatever, and I've decided I'm not going to do that this time. Recently, I got into a back and forth with Rex that has caused a lot of confusion and disappointment to what people have seen me doing, going as far as to call me the next tipster. So let me explain why I was going to leak this call in this stream, and why I think Lorex is worth bullying.
A few hours after the live stream aired, Bowblax seemingly realized the error of his ways and took it down. In a bid to mitigate the overwhelming backlash, Bowblax made a public apology to Lorex and acknowledged his unprovoked betrayal. Unfortunately, the damage was already done, and from what Nicholas revealed on his stream, Bowblax seems to have a history of maliciously backstabbing his friends.
But like the big thing for me, and Josh won't deny this because he knows I can prove it, is Josh was telling me privately he was hoping that King of Nothing would backstab him. You know his good friend that he's probably crying to right now in Discord? Okay, he was hoping that his friend would backstab him so he could farm him on stream for money. So, alright, it's not just like, oh wow, you're not going against current narrative. This guy's blowing me privately, dude.
In addition, Nicholas would share some messages and details about how Bowblax has been lying to him privately.
A couple days later, he sends me like, and I swear to God, this is what got me. He sends me a hospital wristband. And I've been fucking running this in my head, right? And I didn't know what I wanted to say because I don't know how much I can say here. And I'm not going to say the name of the condition he claimed to have been diagnosed with. He told me that he had a disorder. And in that moment, and I'm almost positive he's told me he's had it since then, but in that moment, he told me he was 99% sure he was diagnosed with a disorder.
Apparently, Bowblax had been using that disorder to explain why he was acting up, and led everyone to believe that he was getting help for it.
Well, not only that, he told me he was being medicated for this diagnosis. Okay, they were medicating him. He told me this disorder made him stop hating Tommy C. All right, he's bettering himself. You're laughing. You're laughing. I told you my friend has a disorder, and you're laughing. No, listen. I wanted to believe this was true because I like Josh and I feel bad for Josh, and I wanted to believe he was doing something that would be helpful for him. But after the Chud Logic stream, I called him and he told me that he's not even sure he has it. I thought he was diagnosed. I thought he was medicated. This is like Boogie's cancer.
At this point, it was clear that Bowblax had no issue lying, manipulating, or backstabbing his friends. It didn't matter how minor or major the problem was. Bowblax was willing to betray the people closest to him to maintain his ego. Not only that, but he'd find any excuses imaginable to justify it when he gets exposed. For a while, this strategy went unpunished. But this time, people were going to hold him accountable. The next day, Augie returned to streaming and hosted the debate between Nicholas and Bowblax. According to Augie, the debate was organized this way because he wanted both parties to be on neutral ground.
Nick challenges Bowblax. On the air, he challenges Bowblax to a confrontation. So I start thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on now. What if I just host that confrontation, right? Because it would make no sense for Bowblax to call into Nick's stream, right? Why would Bowblax call into a stream that's hostile towards him? Just out of, the whim of my own curiosity, I messaged Bowblax, I messaged Nick, and to my fucking surprise, they agreed.
From Bowblax leaking the lyrics call to slandering people he disliked and blaming on BDP, Augie and Nicholas did not hold back while confronting him with his many sins against the community. However, as the stream went on, it became less of a debate and more of a game trying to get Bowblax to acknowledge his wrongdoings.
Okay, so what was your thought process in hindsight? Just plain English, what was your thought process and why you thought that call was valuable to publish?
Basically, he had a misunderstanding of me. I try to explain the misunderstanding, and he says he understands, but also still thinks I'm a liar.
So I guess you're mad because, to paraphrase, because he disagreed with your assessment of how the call went.
Of how the Boo Boss call went? Yeah.
And how does that reflect on his character? Because you said you were going to do a bully stream on him. I'm wondering what your initial angle was.
The initial angle for the bully stream is that he said like, oh, I wish you the best or whatever. But then I see like multiple days later, he's still doing a stream on me. So I like poke him a little bit in the chat, and he like gets really desperate. Like, oh, where's the Bowblax content? Oh, let's bring Queen Man. Oh, I need Bowblax. And I'm like, if you mean the best for me, like, why are you being so desperate to like make content out of me days after the fact?
Eventually, they got Bowblax to admit that he'd been lying about the BDP diagnosis all along.
That's why it's
yeah, because I thought it was BPD.
Yeah, you ran to Alex and you said, hey, please don't leak. I have BPD. I got new meds. I'm sorry for freaking out. The freak out being the conversation you had. This is why I think what you're doing is bad. You also sent messages to Alex saying, hey, listen, please don't leak my messages. I'm not myself right now. You can leave the tweets up if you want, but yeah, I'd appreciate it if you didn't mention this DM convo. And I'm not being crazy because of this tweet. It's because of other things in my life.
Yeah, I lied about having BPD. I thought I had BPD.
One after the other, Bowblax's lies and acts of betrayal were laid bare for everyone to see, and even Lyrics joined the call to question not just his actions, but his motives.
Bowblax, why did you record the call in the first place?
Because I was frustrated with you not accepting or calling me like a liar and a manipulator, and I wanted to have the conversation with you, and then I recorded it so I could listen back to it later and
It's because he was mean.
So you recorded the call before even raining me, so you can already like listen back to it later?
Listen back to it to see
what does that even mean, dude?
Instinctively, Bowblax tried to justify his malicious behavior by claiming that Lyric started it by calling him a manipulator, but Nicholas quickly reminded him that that assessment was the objective truth.
What was the danger, Bowblax? What kind of situation did you think you were entering? You think you're entering the Coliseum and a phone call on me?
You were sending it to anyone who wanted to see it.
You were calling me a liar and a manipulator.
You are a liar and a manipulator.
So what I said on my stream is that you're being manipulative in the 2020 Boo Boss shit. I guess the manipulative is like the equivalent to the N-word to you, that you can't even utter this around you or else you'll have like an insane episode.
It's not listen, it's not retarded. He has a whole video on his channel about how it doesn't bother him. But God help me, I have seen the word ableist more times in this past 2 months than I've ever read it from Josh before.
Seeing no other way to deny it, Bowblax caved in and explained the thought process behind leaking the call.
What was the reason why you even leaked the call to Smaggle and like showed it around, I guess, like to Toastify and other creators too? What was that reason on the night of 9/11? what was that?
I wanted to get validation for my feelings on the call. So I wanted to like shop it around to see like if people agreed with me.
So you had this call with me, and unless that I agreed with you, you were going to leak this to other people.
Because I wanted to see if I was right about being angry about this call.
You'd think that Bowblax would at least be somehow honest with his friends by now, but that wasn't the case, as they caught him in yet another lie.
So Connor writes Bowblax on September 12th at 3:29 p.m. He says, interesting. Well, obviously this is a lot of content to watch, so if you had to summarize your criticisms for why he's like a monkey in a couple sentences, what would you say so I can know what is going on into it? Bowblax says, he called me a manipulative liar and that he wants to see succeed and not burn bridges with. He was super harsh but dick sucky at the same time. It's gonna make for great Mayo Monkey content next year, lol. To be honest, the streams you can skip, but listen to the call on 2x speed. It's so nuts.
Yeah, I definitely pitched it the harshest to Connor for sure, but yeah.
You call that pitching it?
I mean, you're outright
yeah.
telling him what
you're not pitching, you're catching. So
you're outright telling him what your intentions are.
After 2.5 hours of getting confronted with the reality of his actions and the inevitable impact on his reputation, Bowblax decided he'd had enough and left the call.
Alright, well, I feel like we've reached our conclusion here.
Alright, good.
You guys just
I think the conclusion is like just going to show everyone why no one should want anything to do with you.
Alright, well, Keemstar wants in.
Wait, wait.
Oh wait, he left.
No.
He left.
Bowblax knew there was no coming back to the commentary community after leaving the stream like that, so to protect his pride, he blocked all of his former friends. In response, Nicholas felt it was time to show viewers just how unhinged Bowblax could be when someone wounds his pride.
These are DMs from Bowblax to you guys, I presume?
Yeah, one of them is out already.
I helped build the community that you're setting my standards to. Density is not cool. He is not my friend. I hate him. Tippetster I hate as a meme is hate Density. He is Vival. He is not friend everyone but you knows this. Literally, like 20 YouTubers know my behind-the-scenes opinion on him. I didn't need your snarky optics check. Fucking DM me next time. Zero respect. I'm asking for bare fucking minimum, dude. Bare fucking minimum. Wow.
Ironically, this situation gave one of Bowblax's favorite bully stream targets, Tipster, the opportunity to give him a taste of his own medicine, with this message, talk all the shit you want, but I knew you were next, and I was right. Literally everything you tried to shit on me for, you did. You're a massive effing hypocrite, and I have zero sympathy for you. You're getting a taste of your own medicine, and you have no one to blame but yourself. From this point on, things only went further downhill for Bowblax, as some old drama he was involved in would resurface and tank his reputation even further. On the 19th of September, a user on Reddit made a post highlighting some dark parts of Bowblax's time with his former gaming friend group, the Trashy Trio, reading, "The reason for posting this is to show Bowblax's current behavior is nothing new. He's always taking glee in bullying people and being two-faced. His impulses make him do terrible things to others so he can step above him." In this post, they included a number of striking claims about Bowblax and his friends bullying someone named SMT because he copied their content. Reading, "He and his friends have been harassing this person for 4 years. They made him make the video with them in hopes that they'll give him back his Twitter that they stole. They made a subreddit specifically to harass victims. Bowblax specifically asked if victim has a mental illness and is R-worded." While the full video that accompanies this post is beyond the scope of this video, it's clear that Bowblax and his friends definitely engaged in some serious online harassment.
Pretty sure you can hear us. Code, yes.
SMT,
okay,
we know that you can fucking hear us.
Okay, there we go. My headphones cut out.
SMT, shut the fuck up. No, they didn't.
Idiot. Yes, I did.
No, they fucking didn't.
Spastic, shut up.
Okay, now answer the question then. Shut the fuck up. Give us those details.
Why do you think
Okay.
Sam's childish? Vent your frustration. So
Yeah.
you can finally do streams without being quiet and menus.
Yeah.
Because he's actually put me through hell for the past 4 years. and I think we all
Explain?
know that.
Go in detail.
Regardless of how poorly they treated him, SMT didn't hold a grudge and expressed it in the following comment. Hello there, I am the SMT mentioned in this Reddit post. Now, while what they've done was wrong back in the day, a lot of this shit was 8 to 10 years ago. We've all grown up and matured since then, and we've been on good terms for a while. I don't think it's worth trying to cancel Bowblax or Chaos Bender over this. I'm long since over this now, and none of this shit is relevant or even effing matters nowadays. Over on Twitter, Bowblax was making the worst possible response to the drama, reading, "Just to let y'all know, the reason I'm blocking so much is because I'm converting my Twitter experience to specifically cater to what I need to see to make Twitterverses videos. Might unblock some people after they're done talking about me, but for now, I need to focus on my content." It didn't matter how much he betrayed people behind the scenes, or how maliciously he attacked his critics. Bowblax was incapable of understanding that he was the problem, and any apology he made was solely performative. Nowhere was this more apparent than in his apology tweet he posted several weeks after the drama, reading, "Earlier this year, I had a mental health crisis that I let get out of control, hurting many of my friends in the process. My psychotic rant to Nick from July was the catalyst to me realizing something was horribly wrong. I felt very guilty and felt it was my responsibility to update him and let him know how things are going. I jumped to BPD and started telling Nick and others that BPD was the answer, even though I didn't have confirmation from medical professionals. I'm sorry to him and others who were just trying to help me." While genuine on the surface, this apology rings hollow when you look at what Bowblax was about to do to revive his career and reputation. On the 19th of December 2024, Bowblax returned to streaming and tried to monetize what was left of his fanbase with a new Bowblax plushie.
Bobby is back! He's back! He's back and he's blue. So many people over the past 2 years since I launched the original Bobby plush, ever since it became kind of like a meme and a thing online with the whole H3 and Game drama and, you know, the Bobby being on the show. So many people have asked me, how can I get a Bobby? I want a Bobby for myself.
To say Bowblax was tone deaf in this video would be a gross understatement. In his mind, Bowblax still had the influence to sell such a niche item. In reality, hardly anyone had interest in the plushie, and they failed to sell enough units to go into production. After that didn't work, Bowblax tried to restart his career the same way it ended, with controversy. By the 11th of January 2025, a throwaway Twitter account would leak images of Bowblax's Manchi OF page, and claim that they got the leaks from emails shown in one of his recent streams. The Manchi profile had a description that read, "I'm the ultimate she-male. Why settle for being hot as a girl or a guy when you can do both? Down to do anything or anyone." As you'd expect, all of Bowblax's former friends were repulsed, but none of them condemned him for it and just laughed. However, that didn't stop him from trying to weaponize it against them, with a tweet that read, "I feel like I came out as non-binary at the worst time in the worst way. Happened during a mental health crisis. Gender diversity discourse online is the most volatile it's ever been, and my gender expression seems to be the least accepted type. Feminine with body hair." It was obvious Bowblax wanted to use his new gender identity to shield him from criticism, but no one was going to forget his vast history of lies, manipulation, and betrayals. In hindsight, everything that's happening to Bowblax right now is his own fault. He let his need for fame and validation from fans to bring out the worst in him. From his hypocritical copyright drama to his recent falling out with the commentary community, Bowblax only ever thought about his public image and channel revenue. It didn't matter if he was being a massive hypocrite in private, betraying friends, or outright bullying someone. Bowblax only cared if the public was aware of it. While it is possible that he can still have a career on YouTube, it'll take a very long time and he'll never be able to remove the stain on his reputation or the disturbing images that got leaked to the internet. If you're hearing this, you've just reached the end of the video, and I wanted to give you a little reward for doing so. In the description, I've linked to my Spotify page, where I uploaded next week's video early. The video is titled YouTube's Most Infamous Deleted Videos, and it's a super interesting watch. Don't forget to follow me on Spotify, as I'm going to be posting pretty often over there.